Hello, my name is Brianna Sinclair, and this is my 9th week on HRT. I am, for those of you that don't know me or haven't been following me, I am a transgender woman who has just started her journey on hormones. Before my HRT, I was out as transgender for over a year, and this is my journey on HRT to help those curious, to help teach them if they're curious. My channel is well, not my channel, since I'm just starting. My videos, at least in this portion, are unedited, unscripted, so that is part of the raw nature, because I don't want to hide anything from anyone regarding my journey, because it is important to be as honest as possible for something like this. Measurements update. So my hips are 34 and a quarter, my bust is 34 and a quarter, and my waist is still 25 and a half. So there is literally no change in my measurements from week 8 to week 9, which is fine. The pain I feel in my chest is not as severe as it was, which kind of makes me think that I'm plateauing at where I'm at, or I'm just getting used to it, which is very possible. Even though I do have a very high pain tolerance, it is possible for me to get used to the pain that I am feeling in my chest. I still have to wear a bra 24/7 because I don't like how the fact that since my nipples are still very much erect, I don't like how they kind of poke through multiple layers of material. So I wear a bra with nipple covers underneath to help conceal them a little bit, and then I'll wear whatever. I kind of just threw this on because it made me comfortable. It was just a little t-shirt and some shorts, so nothing too crazy. I decided to kind of lock Fendi out for this one, because every time he comes in, it kind of throws me off, because I'll always get like a mouthful of his hair. That's not something I really enjoy. My emotional status is good. There's really no change. I think for the most part, I'm getting used to all the effects of my emotional state, which is good. I'm much better off for it. It's still easy for me to cry. It's still easy for me to feel things. I just am learning a little bit more how to deal with them, and I'm grateful for it. I haven't noticed any fat transfer yet, from the start to finish. I think I've noticed only a change in like my hips and my bust, and that was like, I think a quarter. Yeah, a quarter inch, which could literally be anything. I am starting to think that it might be a little bit of growth, because it's stuck for several weeks now, and so I'm hopeful. I'm being patient with my journey. I know multiple people tell me to be patient, and I'm doing my best. I've just spent so long waiting to get to this point that it's hard not to be excited and to want to find the end result, or see the end result, really. I didn't really do a whole lot new with my makeup. I think I just added like a different highlighter on like my cheek area to kind of bring it out a little bit and kind of see what that would do. My muscle mass I don't think it's decreasing. I do get fatigued a lot easier, so it is a lot harder for me to run as often as I like, and as much as I like. I tried to run 1.5 miles and was only able to do a mile yesterday, just because I was so tired, and that's okay with me. That's okay. Yeah, we talked about my sex drive is still the same, still as sexually active as ever, still as frustrated as ever, because it's still just as hard, if not harder, for me to be satisfied, which is unfortunate, but it's a minor bump in the road that I'm learning to deal with, and as I go, I am figuring it out. But all in all, my journey's going really well. Very well, actually. Both of my therapists agree. Next month, I do have my next appointment with my endocrinologist to help up my, to check my levels. I'm hoping that they up my dosage, because I've been on the same one up until this point. And I'm kind of excited to see what happens whenever my dosage does get increased. My wife was on 4 times the amount of estrogen that I was, and did not receive hardly anywhere near the amount of growth that she wanted. And I'm seeing a little bit, so I am hopeful that as I step it up over the course of this year, I will notice a lot more change in my breast growth. I do talk about my breast growth quite a bit because it's the most prominent change I've noticed, and I am so thankful for it because it lets me know that it's working. It's a real surefire thing that, like, it's doing what it's supposed to. Because I do have trust issues and stuff like that, and that's just due to the things that have happened to me throughout my 29 years. But this one's a little different. My wife is happy for me because she's seen me come and be the person I am and grow into her, especially after being a boy for so long. Let's see. We talked about breast growth. We talked about my emotional status. We talked about my sex drive and how unfortunate that one is. And we did talk about me being fatigued. I do get misgendered pretty frequently because I dress androgynously. I feel like if I dressed more feminine, I wouldn't, but I haven't gotten to that point where I feel safe enough to do that, so I dress androgynously, and I'm slowly verging on more feminine because I don't want anything to happen. I want to see this person that I've become, and I don't want anything to cut it short, especially not some silly misunderstanding. I'm still waiting on my exception to policy. I think I've got a couple more people that have to see it after this week, which I'm really excited for because I'm waiting to grow out my hair. I know it looks pretty long. It's not real. I'm sorry. I know that's really deceptive, but I don't try and hide it. I do these videos as like a personal diary for me and to help educate those around me so that they can know what to expect from there a journey like mine. And this is for the most part how I went to work, except for the wig. And I obviously had to change my clothes because there's a little dress code I have to follow. My current, the occupation I was working at today. My main career, I do work Monday through Friday, and then I work my other job every day except usually Tuesdays and Wednesdays, but it is what it is. And I'm happy for it. I'm excited to start electrolysis because I don't know if it's noticeable. I do have facial hair that's very dark because I am a very, very dark brunette. It was so dark whenever I was a kid, I thought it was black. Any project I did that was a self-reflection of me, it always appeared, well, not appeared, it was intentionally colored black or shaded black because that's how dark my hair was. So my color correction is on point today, I think. I don't get a whole lot of negative backlash for me putting makeup on, except it is pretty obvious that I'm transgender and was born a male. My voice is very masculine still. I do try and feminize it. I do try and practice. I know it takes time, which is a big part of this whole journey. It takes time. Sorry, my chest still does hurt. So I rub it every now and again to help subside the pain. I'm really excited for my exception policy, though. It's something I've been waiting on for a long time, and I thought it would have been approved months ago. And I thought I would have started HRT even longer ago. But I'm happy that this is my 9th week. It's just good to get started and good to see everything. I'm learning a lot. I'm getting better at my makeup. I'm getting better at doing things. I'm getting better at being feminine. I haven't noticed a whole lot of like my hair growing slower. I still shave pretty regularly because I have to. I'm usually a pretty hairy individual, and that was a large part of my gender dysphoria, to be honest with you. I hated my facial hair, my body hair, everything about it ever since I was a kid. I kind of assumed I was stuck with it. And because I did JROTC in high school and was very competitive, I had the privilege of going to the Fort Leonard Wood summer camp, which was a week-long military camp that and initially it started with us challenging all of the branches to a competition to see who had the best of the best. Whenever the budget cuts came, it was a pretty sad moment because it was only the Army that showed up because I was Army ROTC and it was an Army fort or an Army base. It was really nice to see all the branches and to be compared because it was good to see that you had the option to impress or inspire the other branches. I showed up my second year there after having a taste of what it was like my first year. I knew kind of what to expect, and I brought gloves to do pull-ups because I had very weak hands, so I just needed something to give me some grip to hold on. And I did so many pull-ups that I was able to impress even the Marine drill sergeants or RDCs, whichever they were identified as, because I don't know a whole lot about the Marines, to be honest with you. And that was something I was very proud of. I was able to impress these enlisted Marine Corps veterans, and that was something that I was very proud of. And I took home the third most physically fit one there out of all of the branches that year, I think. And then the year after, I took first. I had a wonderful time at the summer camp because I was in a place where I could try and be the best I could be, and that's all I ever wanted to be. I was very competitive because I always thought I could do better, and my best never was good enough. I was never good at being a boy, so I guess you could say me transitioning was me giving up, or you could say that it was me realizing that I was so bad at being a boy that I was really a girl. Part of choosing to transition was coming to several realizations. That being one of them. There are a couple, like, there's nothing in the world that will change the fact that I will never have two X chromosomes. I will always have a Y. And in conjunction with that, the other realization is no matter how much I want kids or want to be a mother, I will never be able to get pregnant. And that's fine. It's a realization that I have to come to terms with because it's a little different than being a biological female. I do feel things on the same level. I feel like my muscle development is probably a little bit more advanced than a female's would be at my hormone level. But that is very quickly changing. It's not fun to come to those realizations because they're not good realizations for the most part. But they are what they are. Having said that, and knowing that before I even started HRT, knowing full well that I will become sterile very quickly and realize I am probably sterile now, I did freeze my genetic material because I do want kids at some point. And it's not like my wife can impregnate me. She is a woman as well. So. And she's been wonderfully accepting of me being on my journey. Wonderfully accepting. And I do understand that I do understand a lot of transgender women experience this flip in sexual attraction. Mine is very much the same, and is only probably grown more intense towards her. So I don't expect that to change throughout this. I don't find boys any more attractive than I did before I started. And I have tried to date men. It's not, it's unfortunately not what I want. It's not nothing to do with them being a man, it's everything to do with like how I'm treated. And as a woman, I'm kind of a mixture of more traditional and more modern. I like being independent, but I also kind of like playing the role of like the traditional housewife, but I'm not going to sit home and not contribute because I view marriage as a partnership. I feel both of you should contribute everything that you got to give what you have the best chance at success. Because if one of you does all the work and one of you just sits back and enjoys it, somebody's not getting a fair share. And that's what I try to give my wife. But that's just me. And that's why I don't blame a lot of like men looking elsewhere for more traditional women. I don't blame them at all. It's the times have changed. We're equals. It used to be men had a larger role and were valued more, but we're equal now. So it's a little different. Women don't necessarily need a man, and a man doesn't necessarily need a woman. That's just the way our society works, and I mean, socially it may be viewed differently. It may be viewed very, very differently, to be honest with you. And I understand me coming out and wanting to continue my relationship with my wife was me asking her to be viewed as a lesbian if I become passable, because that's how people would view us walking down the street if we both passed. And I know that's not all that she wanted, but she is starting to accept it a little bit more, and I'm grateful, because I never wanted my marriage to end. I was terrified it would whenever she asked me if I was, because she would come home and I would cross-dress, because it made me feel good. It made me feel really good, in a way that was very different and just seemed right. I would watch her do her makeup and she would tease me in front of her friends whenever she was doing her makeup and stuff, if I was watching her because I was wanting to learn. But for the most part, I was watching her because I wanted her to know that I supported her in everything that she did. I wanted to be there with her at all times. I didn't want her to ever think that I didn't want to be around her. Or with her, for that matter. Because in my main job, there are months where I would just disappear from the face of the earth for the most part. And whenever I come back, being with her is the only thing that I want to do. So I try and spend as much time with her as I can, no matter what we're doing, where we're at. If she's at work, I want to be there with her to like show her that I love her. I'll run and grab her coffee, I'll run and grab her food, whatever she needs. Like, I just don't want to be around her. Because after spending months away from her, and her being the only thing that gets me through those months, it's the least I can do. Literally the least. I do apologize. My voice is a little bit more feminine, I feel like. I've just spent all day talking, and it's been a day for me. um but yeah, that's where my relationship is at. We both believe that we're gonna make it through this, and we know that if we can make it through this, we can make it through literally anything. Because it doesn't get much harder than this as far as like a relationship goes. And that's what I want. I don't want to start dating again. I don't want to be back on the market. It's not fun for me. And this time, I'll be back as like a woman. And I never wanted to be treated differently, just addressed differently. Because most of this is for me. It's about me, for me, and my mental health. I do know some people do think I am making a mistake in my journey, but before I even embarked on this, I was looking into the detransitioners because there's always gonna be somebody that did and has. So I was looking at their stories, the reasons that they started transitioning, and how they knew that they weren't transgender. Their stories were so different from mine in most ways. And from the experiences of other transgender women, I felt my experience was more closely related to their reasons. And that's how I knew. I'd always felt like something was off, something was different. I never felt good enough for me. And throughout my life, I was perfectly average at everything. I was never the fastest or the strongest or the best at anything except being perfectly average. Even my height and my weight, well, I'm underweight, but my height is average for a male. I apologize. It's late and I've been working all day. But listening to their stories and understanding what I should be looking for to know whether or not I was even transgender or just infatuated with the idea of somebody transitioning. I looked at their reasons and I looked at like how I felt in my life and knew that I was transgender. I do plan on making a video with all the reasons because in explaining to my family why I thought I was transgender, it took me an hour to justify it to them because they didn't understand. And I knew that they wouldn't. I grew up in the southwest corner of Missouri where it's very country. Very religious. I knew that most of my family would not accept it because they didn't even accept my wife for the most part. They eventually came around, but initially they didn't even want me dating her because my wife is transgender as well. don't think I could have ended up with anybody better. In the beginning of our relationship, I did ask her why she thought that she was transgender. Her being a drag queen and stuff like that, her doing makeup, I have never viewed her as a male. Even looking at some of her pictures pre-transition, I look at her and think that that is my wife. I have no problem addressing her as such. And never will. Even whenever she was only on her hormones. Before FFS and everything. She was my wife. And she is never and never was, never will be my husband. She was never my boyfriend. She was my girlfriend, then she became my fiance, and then she became my wife. In the most stunning turn of events, I went from her husband to her wife, and she was okay with it. Not initially, but she is coming around because she doesn't want to lose me, and I don't want to lose her. And I was very upfront with her about everything, that I only want her to be happy. And knowing full well what that meant, I said it because it was true. And I'm just glad that she stayed. And that she still believes that I can make her happy. Sorry, that topic's really emotional for me. But it's very important for me as well because my relationship is a big part of my life, and I feel like there's not a whole lot of material out there that teaches you what to do in the event that you're already in a relationship and you do find out that you're transgender, because before I transitioned and before I got married, I dated men and I dated women because I didn't know which one I liked. I didn't know if it was something wrong with me, if I was gay, if I was straight, what I liked. And then I found my wife, and it was different, but it was the same in some regards, and how it made me feel, except for the sheer fact that I was incredibly happier with her. I was just incredibly unhappy with myself still, because I couldn't be better for her, or me. I was just unhappy with me for the most part, and because the only thing I could ever lie to her about were surprises. She asked me if I was transgender one day, and we sat down, and I told her the truth, that I believed I was. Because she deserved to know the truth, and I was not going to waste her time. And if she could have a child with somebody else that can make her happier, that's what I would want for her. That's exactly what I would want. And so being honest and being patient is what I did. I didn't immediately start wearing dresses and wearing a breastplate or anything like that, or wearing makeup. I was patient with her, told her I wanted to go at her pace because I wanted this to work. And my justification was I was 27 or 28, which means I had spent 27 or 28 years as a boy. And I would wait as long as it took to be a girl for her. She didn't like that answer because she knew kind of what that meant for me. And her being transgender herself just said that that was not good enough for her. And that was both good and bad. Good because we were on the same page and that we just wanted the best for each other. Bad in that she didn't want to go at her pace. She wanted to go at my pace, which is great. And that I get to go at my pace to an extent, but I refuse to go as quickly as I want to. Because I don't want to scare her away. I don't want her to think I'm moving too fast for her. And I don't want her to see my transition as a great big leap. Because it's a journey, not a sprint. We did separate for a little bit to figure out what we wanted, and we decided that we wanted each other. And I couldn't have agreed more. The separation does suck. It's not fun. It's very depressing, very sad. I do wish I could have done without it, but I do understand that it probably did have to happen so that she could figure out if she could be with me. And in turn, she turned out to be my biggest supporter. But that's how I am making my relationship work, my marriage work, because as it goes, it does take two to tango. But don't give up if they don't want to dance with you. Just be patient and go at their pace. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It is a sad portion of it because most of our relationships don't work. The ones that do view their partner's transgender journey as just them still being them, just them looking different and becoming happier. And the ones that it doesn't work out, it's often viewed as a threat on the other's femininity, and I am very cautious because the last thing I want to do is perceived as a threat on her femininity, because I know that's how she wants to be perceived. And I don't want her to feel like she looks more masculine next to me, because that'll only make things worse, in my opinion. Do I know that for sure? Absolutely not. But I care about her happiness, her mental health. Because I love her. As you should if you get married. I'm traditional in the sense that whenever I asked her to marry me, that was a promise that I was going to do everything it took to make it work. And I'm doing just that. I think that's all I gotta talk about tonight. um, if you like my videos, please like, comment, subscribe. I plan to do more videos, more personalized videos, because those are requests. I just haven't had the time to get around to do them, because as of right now, I only have time to do my weekly updates. And I would love to see my channel grow, so that way I can start making whatever I make off of this channel. I can start donating or investing back into my channel to give you guys more quality content. Because this is supposed to be a safe place for those like me who are learning, who are curious, who are unsure. I don't intend to spark debates or arguments. If they do spark, they do spark, and I will handle them how I see fit. I'm not going to lie to you about the results of my transition and what I'm feeling, what I'm going through. That's not who I am. Because in something like this, I feel like it is important to be honest in the full meaning of the word. I do apologize if the camera caught some of my tears. These aren't supposed to be sad. They're supposed to be honest. We just happen to touch on a very sad topic. My videos are unscripted and unedited, so I'm not gonna start now. I promise y'all quality content, and I'm doing the best I can. So to give you the full truth, the whole truth, I unscript these, unedit these, and upload these as is. So if you like my content, like my channel, and would like to help, please like, comment, subscribe, and feel free to ask questions. I love answering them. I love helping people out. That's mostly what I do in one of my jobs. The other one, I'm a huge defender. For the most part. That's what I do. So helping others is more ingrained in me than most might think. So don't be afraid to ask questions. If you have a personal question, please let me know, and I'll give you a more reasonable way to get in contact with me. So that way you don't feel like you're putting your business out there. Because a lot of the questions I had to ask, I personally messaged people to ask these questions. And in my other full-time job, I'm working at a makeup store to learn how to do my makeup, to learn how to beat my face. So if you have questions, please ask. And I do intend to make a little makeup tutorial video at some point, because that was a request, so I apologize to the person and the people that are waiting and have asked. I just haven't had the time, so I do apologize. Thank you. This is Brianna Sinclair signing off for her 9th week video.